Koch Industries, the Koch brothers, are mad at us. Christmas comes early. Koch Industries is the second largest privately held corporation in the country, founded by, let's call him Dad. Founded by Fred Koch in 1940. The company is still in the family. It makes chemicals, runs refineries, has its sketchy overseas subsidiaries, do business with Iran, even though that's supposed to be illegal for Americans. Koch Industries is doing great. They are doing great for the Koch family, for the Koch brothers who inherited the company from Dad. The Koch brothers are richer than Warren Buffett now, the two of them, a combined fortune of more than $50 billion. And as the brothers have become richer and richer and richer in the past few years, they have also fired thousands of Koch Industries employees. Now remember, Koch Industries is private. Profits do not go to people who buy stock in the company on the stock exchange or something. The profits go to the brothers, to Charles and David. And the brothers have done great recently. And as they have done great, as they have done greater and greater and greater in the last few years, they have been firing American workers by the thousands. But now they are mad at me at this show, which is exciting for all of us here, I will not lie. The Koch brothers have always used their enormous inherited fortune to dabble in politics. In 1980, David Koch ran for vice president on the Libertarian Party ticket.
The party can afford to go it alone financially because its vice presidential candidate, industrialist David Koch, is loaded. And under campaign law, he can spend as much as he wants.
And when you are the richest man in New York City, say, when you are one of the richest heir to an oil and chemical fortunes in the world, and the law says you can spend without limits, you can do things like this for your campaign. David Koch paid to mint dimes with his own face on them. That's him in the back as the vice presidential candidate. David Koch minted dimes with his own head on them like he was Caesar. Koch money, Koch bucks, to promote him running for vice president in 1980. Since then, David Koch and his brother have become Republicans. They fund Republican candidates, and they also fund the big money astroturfed parts of the Republican Tea Party movement. All the Americans for Prosperity stuff in the Tea Party movement, that's Koch brothers and their Koch bucks. But in the midst of all that Koch brothers conservative activism, the brothers are still very busy. They still own Dad's giant oil and chemical conglomerate, right? Best graduation present ever. Keys to the kingdom. Operations in 60 countries, give or take a republic or two. Charles and David Koch are still running the empire that Dad gave them, only now they are running it in ways that try to make not just money, but also political points. And so last week, Koch Industries posted this map of their job openings in the U.S. To put your mind at ease, see? 48 Koch jobs in Wisconsin, 1 Koch job in North Dakota, Nevada, Arizona, Utah. You don't get any Koch jobs, sorry. This is the note they put up with their map of job openings. It says, quote, "For those concerned with jobs, Koch has some good news. It's looking to fill 1,200 jobs across the country." Now, to be fair, the Koch brothers do think about jobs a lot. For example, after Congress passed the first economic stimulus to create jobs in 2009, the Koch-funded Americans for Prosperity group ran ads attacking Democrats who voted for it. When the money from that stimulus started flowing to local governments to create jobs, the Americans for Prosperity group demanded that local governments reject that money. Now that we are facing a double-dip recession and President Obama is calling on Congress to create jobs in infrastructure and for cops and teachers and firefighters, the Koch brothers' political arm is talking about the, quote, shadow of threats to loom if the government creates jobs, if the government tries to stop people being laid off to help the economy. Backed by the Koch brothers, Americans for Prosperity has been driving around the country on a Cut Spending Now tour. The message from Koch in the face of the country's biggest jobs crisis since the Great Depression is, don't try to fix it. And if you're worried about jobs, hey, come work for Koch. America shouldn't try to do anything to fix the economy or make jobs. If you're worried about jobs, pshaw, we're hiring a few people. As we pointed out on our blog last week, there are currently almost 21,000 unemployed or underemployed Americans for every one of those jobs listed on the Koch Industries website. Almost 21,000 people, say, for that 1 Koch job in North Dakota. We pointed this out on our blog last week. Then a couple of days ago, the PR department at Koch Industries tweeted us a link. So we followed that link, and up pops this angry Koch Industries message about the Rachel Maddow Show. They write that our point from that blog post, quote, appears to be that unless we offer enough job openings to everyone that is unemployed, any number of openings is objectionable. That would be a strange argument, if in fact it were the one that we were making. To help with their argument, which I think is that they're bigger than us, which we already knew, Koch also posted this animated map. So you can see how many job openings Koch Industries is advertising versus how many MSNBC is advertising. And obviously Koch Industries has us outnumbered by a factor of like infinity. MSNBC has not got even one job in North Dakota, and Koch Industries does have that one job there. So touche, you got us. You got us, multi-billion-dollar corporation that laid off thousands of workers while its corporate overlords grew even more enormously wealthy. And then those same corporate overlords used their enormous resources to try to keep Congress and the president from doing anything to create jobs. If I had become billions and billions and billions of dollars richer while firing thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans from their jobs, and then I had decided to spend multi-million-dollar chunks of my fortune trying to make sure that teachers and firefighters would get laid off and stay laid off, if I was that kind of guy, if I was the kind of guy who minted gold dimes with my own head on them, if I was the kind of guy who wanted to take money out of my pocket and see my own face looking back at me from the money, if I was that kind of guy, then maybe I would think it was reasonable to say, hey, if anybody's worried about unemployment, come work for me, and otherwise stay unemployed. But even if I was the kind of guy who minted myself onto coins, even if I was that kind of billionaire, I still cannot imagine using my multi-billion-dollar oil and chemical conglomerate to take shots by name at a producer for this show who, with 100% factual accuracy, simply reported what you did. We got nothing wrong here. There's no factual allegation that we got anything wrong here. This was just a shot at me, and specifically at a member of my staff by name. Charles Koch, David Koch, you are trying to intimidate the wrong people. This kind of thing is as pitiful from billionaires as it is from anyone. So I reiterate my many earlier invitations to you guys. Come sit for an interview. I would love to have you. Come sit for an interview and let's talk this out. Rather than having Daddy's company attack my producers one by name, feel free to man up anytime. Your beef is with me. So let's do this face-to-face right here, anytime. We would love to have you.